Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, with me, teacher NAZZATULSHIMA binti ZOLKIFLI from SMK AGAMA ARAU Perlis. Okay, so for today, we are going to focus on speaking test for SPM. Ta-da! Okay, from nervous to natural. So, how we are going to conquer the SPM speaking test, especially for part 3. Okay, so before this, we have discussed how we are going to settle for part 1 and part 2. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, with me, POT, Perlis Online Tuition 2025. Okay. Okay, so for part 3, it is very important for you to know, what you are supposed to do. Okay, so if you look at this, so for part 3, candidate discuss a task based on mind map. Okay, so it is given to you a mind map. Okay, so from the examiner. Okay, and then you are going to discuss with your partner. Okay, and then there are 6 points in the mind map. Okay, so next one. Okay, then they have a decision question to discuss. So, meaning to say, as you can see, there are 2 tasks actually. So, this one is the first task. This one is the second task. Okay, for the first task, you have 3 minutes. Okay, for the second task, you have 2 minutes. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, we are going to go deeper. Okay, about how you are going to try to cater this part 3, for these 2 tasks. Okay, next, candidates are given topic with central focus question. So this is where you have the hot question, for the second part. Okay, next, turn taking and responding appropriately. Okay, so what is turn taking? There are 2 candidates, right? Candidate A and candidate B. So both of you have to discuss. Okay, so meaning to say you have to take turn. Okay, for example, the candidate A have to start the discussion. Next, candidate B are supposed to respond to candidate A's point. Okay, so next, negotiating, initiating. So when you get the topic, you have to initiate the discussion. How you are going to begin the discussion, right? Okay, next, the functions. So you have to explain and giving reason. Okay, when you state your points, you have to give reason. Why do you say so? Okay, next one, you have to exchange information and opinion. So meaning to say, candidate A, when he or she give the information, you have to respond back. How about you? Whether you agree or you disagree with your partner. Okay, next, expressing and justifying. What is justifying? So meaning to say, you are agree with your partner. So you have to give a reason. You have to justify. Why do you say so? Why you agree with your partner? Okay, so next, negotiating, making, responding, to suggestion. So in the end, what you are supposed to do, you have to come up with your own conclusion. You have to decide, what is your final decision. Okay, so next one. Okay, what should candidates know? So both of the candidates are required to interact with each other rather than speaking by themselves. So meaning to say, both of you have to do the discussion. Okay, it is not a one-man show. Okay, it is not an individual task. Okay, so both of you have to discuss. Okay, it's not a presentation. Candidate A do the presentation and candidate B do the presentation. No, Okay, so examiner's question will be placed in front of the candidates. So don't worry, okay. So you have the task, okay, the mind map, and there are 6 points given in the mind map. So the examiner will give you the task, okay, in the booklet. So you can see all the points and you can do your discussion. Okay, next, candidates are encouraged to discuss different options and points. So meaning to say, if candidate A already mentioned about the point, you have to select another point, okay, and try to elaborate that kind of points. Okay, so do not repeat the same points as your partner. Okay, so next. Okay, candidates are expected to have a conversation, express and ask for opinion, whether he or she agree or disagree with other candidates. So meaning to say, if you do not agree with your partner, you have to state that and you have to give the reason. Okay, so you have to respond to whatever points or ideas given by your partner. Okay, so next, candidates are advised to reach an agreement. What is reach an agreement with their partner? Okay, but it's not absolutely necessary. Not absolutely necessary. So meaning to say, in the end of the discussion, okay, so you have to focus on the final decision. Okay, whether you are agree or disagree. Okay, so let's say if candidate A agree on the first point, whereas you agree on the second point. So it absolutely okay if you don't come into agreement. Okay, so next, remember both of you must show the examiner that you are discussing towards a final decision. So you have to show to the examiner. Okay, so you have to focus on the examiner, because when you are focusing on the examiner, okay, you will the examiner will know, okay, that you are really go in depth with the discussion and you are going towards a final decision. Okay? Okay, so next. So what should candidates do during part 3 speaking test? Okay, the first one, have a clear discussion, not 2 monologues. Monologues, what is monologues? So monologues, you are speaking to yourself, okay? So make sure your voice is loud and clear, okay? So make sure the interlocutor and the assessor, okay, can listen to whatever that you are speak, okay? Okay, so next one, justify your opinion. So do not express the opinion instead of justify or give the direction. Okay, so this is very important where you need to justify. So like I said earlier, when you need to justify, okay, so you have to focus. Okay, what is the reason? Why do you say so? Okay, so next, try to discuss as many options as you can. So discuss as many options as you can. So meaning to say, you have 6 points in the mind map, right? Okay, so you need to discuss as many points as possible. So let's say within 2 minutes, you are able to discuss 3 or 4 options, which is very good already. Okay, because when you are presenting your ideas, you need to elaborate, or maybe you need to give an example. Okay, so next, work with your partner. So you have to work with your partner, meaning to say your partner is not an enemy. Okay, but your partner is an ally. Why? Because you are helping each other. Okay, so when you are helping each other, so it's very good for you. Okay, so both of you need to present the points. Okay, so it's not one man show. Okay, next one, help your partner. Give a hand. Give a hand. Okay, so lend a hand, okay, to your partner. Let's say if your partner do not know how to deliver, okay, the points, or maybe he or she is struggling at that time. Okay, so it's very important for you to step in. Maybe you can give your own points first in order to make sure he or she is okay. Okay, so next one, what do we have here? Step up your interaction skill. Avoid typical phrases. Go for something more advanced. Okay, so meaning to say something more advanced, which is instead of what do you think, you can say, wouldn't you agree? Okay, so this is very important. How? Because what do you think? The scope is too broad. Okay, so try to narrow it. Okay, so make it more specific. So it is helping your friend. Okay, so to make sure that he or she are doing well. Okay, for the next point. Okay, so next. Okay, so keep your turn short. Remember, this is not this is discussion, not a presentation. Okay, it's not an individual task. Okay, so that is why do not monopolize the discussion. Don't conquer the discussion. So give ample time, give enough time to your friend. Okay, next one, stick to the topic. Stick to the topic. Okay, so make sure do not wander off topic. Okay, next, finish your statement with a question. So, why you have to finish your statement with a question? So, let's say if you don't give any question to your friend, okay, so how your friend are going to respond, okay, to your ideas or to your points? So, that's why after you state your idea or points, after you do some elaboration, and then you have to give the final sentence will be your question to your friend, whether your friend is agree or disagree with your point. Okay, so that is how we are going to make sure that discussion is going on. Okay, so next, address your partner. So eye contact is very important, right? Okay, next, bonus tip. Okay, so be polite and smile. Okay, so why you need to be polite and smile? So a positive, a cheerful attitude can give a better impression, okay, on the examiner. Okay, so you are able to show your confidence to the examiner. Okay, next. Okay, so when you get the task, okay, the mind map in front of you, what you are supposed to do? Okay, so the task, okay, like I mentioned earlier, there are two tasks, right? Okay, so when there are two tasks, what you are supposed to do? For the first task, you have to discuss the mind map given. Okay, so there are 3 minutes. 2 minutes for the discussion, and then 1 minute for the conclusion, okay, where you are supposed to come to a final decision. Okay, so first, try to start and initiate the discussion. Okay, so how you are going to start? So, by saying, today, we are going to discuss about, okay, next, let's move on to, okay, next, let's talk or start about. Okay, our topic for discussion is, okay, then you state your topic. Okay, so next. Okay, after you have stated the topics, okay, what you should do, so you have to give your opinion. Okay, you need to state your first point. Okay, so by saying, firstly, I think that, okay, or in my opinion, okay, next, from my point of view, I believe that, okay, next, first things first, okay, and then you give the points, okay, it's a good way because, okay, so after you have mentioned or state the first point, what you should do? Next, okay. Okay, so after you do some elaboration, okay, based on the point that you gave earlier. So you have to give one final question to your friend in order to make sure the discussion is going on. Okay, so you can ask your partner whether he or she agree with your points by saying, okay, how about you? Okay, what or how do you think about? Okay, and then what is your opinion about? Okay, so what do you think to do? What do you do to? Okay, next, do you think it is important to? Okay, would you agree that? Do you agree with me? And lastly, do you think so too? Okay, so this is how you are asking your friend or your partner to give a feedback or response to your points. Okay, next. Okay, so after your friend have asked you whether you agree or disagree with his or her points, okay, what you should do? So you should respond back to your friend's idea by saying whether you are agree or disagree. Okay, so if you are agree, you can say this. Okay, I agree. Yes, I quite agree or I totally agree with you. Okay, yes, I think it would be a good idea because, okay, next, actually, I think you are right. Okay, next, yes, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Okay, so this you can use if you are agree. Okay, how about if you disagree with your friend? Okay, so you can say, actually, I don't agree. Okay, I don't really agree. Okay, I'm afraid I don't agree. I don't think it is a good idea because, well, I don't think you should. Okay, next one. Are you sure about that? Next, do you really think that? Okay, I'm sure it is because. Okay, so you can use this one if you are disagree. Okay, so you have to give your response. Okay, next. Okay, so remember for discussion you have 2 minutes. Okay, to discuss as many points as possible. And then for the next 1 minute, you have to come out to a final decision where you and your partner have to decide whether you agree on the first point or on another point. Okay, so you would come to an agreement. Okay, so you can conclude your discussion by saying, so we agree that let's make a decision, and then you give the point, okay, and then I think we will choose. Okay, do we think that the best one is? Okay, you are asking your friend again. Okay, so when you want to reach to an agreement, okay, then in the end we think, then you give the points because, so you have to give your reason. Okay, so to sum up, the best choice is, okay, so do we agree that to give the points is the best option? So you are asking your friend, okay, whether both of you are agree on the same thing or on the same points. Okay, so next. Okay. Okay, next. Okay. Let's get started. Okay, with this topic. Okay, for part 3. Okay, so that is why I'm wearing this. Okay, our national flag's colors. Okay, So because our topic for today is how to instill patriotism in students. Okay, so this is one of the tasks for part 3 that I have chose. Okay, so first, do you still remember what we are supposed to do? Okay, when we get this mind map task. Okay, so we have to start by initiating the discussion. How you are going to initiate? How you are going to start your discussion? So, let's talk about, so this is where you put the topic here. Okay, so let's talk about how to instill patriotism in students. Okay, or maybe you can say, okay, today both of us are going to discuss about how to instill patriotism in students. Okay, so you start, initiate the discussion. Okay, next, as you can see, this is the mind map. Okay, there are points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there are 6 points given here. Okay, so you have 2 minutes, you have to discuss as many points as possible as you can. Okay, within 2 minutes. Okay, so next, what you are supposed to do. Okay, so the first students, okay, you are try to introduce the topic. Okay, then candidate B, what you are supposed to do? You have to state, okay, one of the point given. Okay, choose one of the points. And then you have to do the elaboration. Okay. Next, last one, you have to ask your friend whether he or she agree with your points. Okay. So let's take a look at this example. Okay. I think celebrating National Festival is a good idea. As you can see, celebrating National Festival is point number 1. Okay, so candidate B stated the point here. Okay, it is a good idea because when students are involved in this celebration, let them plan and host the event. Through this, they are involving themselves in immersive and meaningful experience of celebrating national festivals. Okay, as you can see, this is the elaboration. Okay, so you state the point and then you do the elaboration. So last, you have to ask your friend, ask for response. Okay, so whether your friend is agree or disagree. Do you agree with me? So you are asking your partner whether he or she agree with your ideas. Okay, so this is for the first round. Okay, stating the first point. Okay, next. So as candidate A, okay, how you are going to respond to your friends? Okay, because your friend already mentioned point number 1. Okay, and then explain the points and ask you for a feedback. So you can say, I agree. So I agree is how you are responding to your friends. Okay, I agree. So meaning to say you agree with your friend's point number 1. Okay, so from my point of view, involving this festival celebration in school, it will create awareness and patriotism among students. Okay, so this is the explanation. Okay, so how you justify. So do you still remember, okay, I have told you earlier, when you agree to your friend's idea or points, okay, so you need to give your reason. Why do you say so? This is how you justify, okay, justify your idea. Okay, why do you agree with your friend? Okay, so of course, when you do festival celebration in school, it will create awareness and patriotism among students. So this is our topic for today, right? Okay, so then as you can see, for instance, Okay, for instance, okay, the students are using an example. So this is an example. Okay, here. In order to elaborate or you want to explain about your points, okay, you can give an example to make it clearer. Okay, so next, well, moving on to my next point. As you can see, after you have justified, okay, why do you say so, you need to move on to the new points. Okay, don't make your explanation too long. Okay, because we only have 2 minutes for the discussion, right? Okay, so, well, moving on to my next point. Okay, as you can see here, this is very important how you are going to organize your points. Okay, you can use cohesive devices, for example, linkers. Okay, here we have moving on to my next points. And then we have for instance. Okay, so these are examples of linkers or cohesive devices that you can use in order to arrange your points. Okay, so you will get good marks for that. Okay, so moving on to my next point. So meaning to say, this is the second point. Okay, so I think watching historical movies is point number 2. Okay, it's a better idea to inculcate patriotism among students because these movies teach them about unity, sacrifice, and resilience. Do you think so? So, in the end, you have to ask for response. So, to make sure the discussion is going on. Okay, so you need to ask your friends for their response. Okay, so as you can see here, the word inculcate. So we are using synonym. Okay, so in the question, it is about how to instill patriotism. Okay, so instill. So instill and inculcate, okay, it is the same meaning, okay. So you can use synonym, okay, in your speaking test, okay. So this is how to show that you are able to use various or variety of vocabs, okay. Okay, next. Okay, so candidate B, okay, when candidate A is asking, do you agree or disagree? Then I think you are right. So this is one of the way. Another way to say that you are agree with your friend instead of, yeah, I agree with you. Okay, you can say, I think you are right. Okay. Besides, watching movie like Mat Kilau that involve heroic sacrifices can emotionally connect young viewers to the idea of defending their land and values. So meaning to say, you justify your answer here. You are giving reason why you are agree to your friend. Okay, so next one. Then organize competition in schools. Okay, as you can see, there is another linkers here. Okay, how you organize your idea. Then organize competition in schools. So this is the third point. Okay, so you are stating a new point. Okay, so it is one of the most effective and fun ways to get students involved because it turns patriotism into something active, creative, and memorable. Would you agree with that? Okay, so this is the third point. You are explaining the point and then you ask your friend for a feedback by saying, would you agree with that? Okay, next. Okay, so candidate A would say, yes, I totally agree with you. Okay, by organizing competition in school, such as national quiz and patriotic speech contest, they develop a personal connection to Malaysia's independence story, not just as something in the textbooks, but as something they can feel proud of. Okay, so Next, okay, so this is the how you justify, because you are saying you are totally agree with your friend's point. Okay, so you justify. You give the reason why you agree, okay, to your partner. And then how you are going to add another new point. So you can say, next, another linkers. Okay, you want to highlight a new points. You want to introduce new points here. So visiting historical places. So this one is point number 4 already, right? Okay, by touching all artifacts, seeing preserved documents, or hearing stories from guides can create a sense of belonging and gratitude. How do you think? So this is the explanation about point number 4. And then you ask again your friend, okay, for respond. Okay, so this is an example. Let's say in 2 minutes they are able to discuss 4 points, which is good already. Okay, so it is quite impossible for you to finish all the 6 points within 2 minutes. Okay, so you have 1 minute for conclusion, where you are supposed to come to a final decision. You have to decide which one is the best, which one is the best way, the best reason, maybe the best solution, okay, for the topic given. Okay, next. So, within 1 minute, okay, so both of you have to come to an agreement. So, maybe you can say, I think both of us agree. Both of us agree that by watching historical movie. So, watching historical movie is point number 2. Okay, so you have discussed 4 points. So, please remember, do not come into an agreement with a new point. So, meaning to say you have to choose the best point, okay, that you have already discussed in your discussion. Do not choose a new point. So, make sure you have discussed this point earlier. So, watching historical movie. So, we have discussed this point earlier. So, both of you already agree on it. Okay, so it's okay. So, it's the best way to instill patriotism in students, because they can note quotes or scenes that inspired them. In addition, teacher can ask them to create their own poem or poster based on firm's message. Do you agree with me? So, you are stating second point as the best idea. Okay, so this is the best idea. The best idea, the best solution to instill patriotism in students. Of course, you have to give the reason. So, this is the reason why you are choosing point number 2, watching historical movie, as the best way to instill patriotism in students. So, last, you have to ask for response. Again, you have to ask your friend. You need to ask your partner whether he or she agree with second point, okay, as the final decision. Okay, next. So, as second person, okay, so maybe you can say, yes, I agree with you. Watching historical movie is the best choice. So, it's okay if you do not want to give a reason, because you are already in the same boat, okay? You agree with your friend, okay? So, no need to explain or to give the reason. But of course, some of the students, they love to speak a lot, okay? Maybe they can say, yes, I agree with you, okay? And then they are giving their own reason to support their decision, okay? So, it's okay as long as you have 1 minute for the conclusion. So, it's okay whether you want to state the reason or not for the second candidate, okay? Okay, So next. So we have finished for the first task. Okay, the first task you were given a mind map. Okay, we have settled already. There are 3 minutes. Okay, but how about this one? The second task. Okay, so for the second task, okay, what you have to do is you have to answer HOTS question. Okay, so this is an example of HOTS question. Okay, the question is actually related to the question, okay, in the mind map. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, in what ways can our country benefit from having citizens who are patriotic? So this is the question. Okay, so what you have to do? You have how many minutes? So you have 2 minutes. Okay, you have 2 minutes. Okay, so both of you, okay, what you have to do? Of course, there are no points given. Okay, it's only a question, okay, stated by the interlocutor. The person who is in front of you will read aloud the question to you. So you have to listen carefully, okay, and then you have 2 minutes, okay, to discuss with your partner. Okay, so what you have to do? There is no point given. This is the time you are supposed to give your own points. Okay, based on the question, HOTS question, you are supposed to give your own points. Okay, so your roles is slightly the same. Okay, just like the mind map discussion, where you have to, there is a turn taking in discussion. So maybe candidate A will start the discussion, okay, and then state the points, okay, and then they can elaborate and ask their partner whether he or she agree, okay, with the points given. Okay, so there is a turn taking, just like the first task. Okay, and then you have to give your elaboration and example. Okay, so it's slightly the same. Okay, next, give chances for your partner to speak too. Okay, so you have to make sure you and your partner have enough time, okay, to speak, to deliver your ideas or your points. Okay, so do not conquer the conversation. Give chances to your partner, okay, to speak as well. Okay, so next, while elaborating, use cohesive devices. So, like I said earlier, you have to use cohesive devices. For example, linkers, okay, connectors, synonyms, okay, in order to make sure the flow of your ideas are smooth. Okay, so next, ask your partner's response. So, to make sure the discussion is going on and smooth, you have to ask your partner whether he or she agree with your ideas or with your point. So this is very important. Okay, so I think this is for HOTS question. You know already, it's slightly the same, the process is the same, okay, but there are no points given. So please be confident with yourself, okay, and then if your partner is struggling, okay, for example, your partner is quite weak, okay, at speaking. So what you have to do is, maybe you can start first. Okay, so it's not necessary for HOTS question, okay, candidate A have to start first. So maybe candidate B have the idea at that time. So why not? Okay, candidate B, you have to step in and you initiate the discussion. You start the discussion. Okay? Okay. So next. Okay, so do you have any question? Okay, don't worry. Okay, so if you have any feedback, okay, any question, for example, and then maybe you can write, okay, something about yourself, okay, when you have finished, viewing or watching our POT videos, okay, so you can give some feedback, some information at this PAUTAN Tontonan POT 2025. Okay, I hope all of you are able to grab as many tips as possible how we are going to answer speaking test for part 3. Okay, be confident. Okay, so give your friend a chance to speak to. Okay, and then try to be polite. Okay, smile. Okay, hopefully you are going to do well. So you have to practice. Okay, practice a lot. Why? Because practice makes perfect. Okay, so good luck to all SPM candidates 2025. Okay, bye. That's all for today. Thank you so much.